Hello, welcome to the 33rd week of the year. This is the fifth week as we journey through the fifth 7 weeks of the year. And it's important that we understand the issue when it comes to the fifth. When it comes to the fifth is a season of blessings. Now, come to think of it, on the fifth day of creation, that's when God began to bless. God did not bless. God did not bless on the first day. He did not bless on the second day. He did not bless on the third day or the fourth day. God began to bless on the fifth day. He also blessed on the sixth day and blessed the seventh day itself. So the question would be, why didn't God bless it? God didn't bless the sun. He didn't bless the vegetation. He didn't bless anything until he got to the fifth day. Then, so why is it that it's just the last 3 days of the week that God pronounced blessings? Now, everything God does is to take care of something. For example, when God said, "Let there be light," it was a war against darkness. When God said, "Let there be a firmament," it was a declaration of war against the space blocker. Water was a space blocker on the second day. So when God said, "Let there be a firmament to divide the waters," it was a war against a monopoly or a space blocker. Now, so when God began to bless, it is saying something to us that without the blessing of God on the fifth, from the fifth, the sixth and the seventh, this season would be a season of curses. So you only give blessings to keep curses away, just like you bring light to keep darkness away. So when God blessed, it was his way of saying, of barring this season from curses. And we also know that when we look at the fifth book of the Bible, we now see the connection. We see the connection. What was this blessing about? So when you read the fifth book of the Bible, you have the book of Deuteronomy. Now you see God talking about blessing and curses. Because whatever God did on any day of creation is illustrated in the book of the Bible and then the chapters of the Bible that correspond to it. So what God did on the fifth day of creation, blessing, we see illustrated in the fifth book of the Bible. So God shows how to get the blessing, and this is what we always need to learn. If I say that the fifth season is a season of blessing, the question to ask is, how do I come into the blessing? Instead of just thinking that, because it's the fifth season, the blessings are just going to drop. It's important to know, how do I come into the blessings of the season? How do I keep curses away? How do I enjoy the good of the season and keep the bad of the season away? So the book of Deuteronomy reveals that God said, if you want to get blessed in this season, it is about obedience. It's about obedience. If you obey my word, then you have the blessings. If you go your own way, then it's curses. Now, this is not about law or grace. It's not about, okay, this belongs to the Old Testament, this belongs to the New, and all that. I don't think that this is what this is about. This is the wisdom of God, that when you come into certain seasons, I would say, the seasons, place a demand. Yeah, so even when we are under grace, the grace of God teaches us to obey God. That's what Titus chapter 2 tells us, that the grace of God that brings salvation has appeared to all men, teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly and righteously and godly in this present world. That's Titus 2 from verse 11. So the key thing in the fifth season is obedience. Now I'm talking about the fifth season, and relating it to the 33rd week, because the 33rd is the fifth within the fifth seven. So it's important that we understand the fifth season if we're going to understand the 34th season. So because of obedience, then the blessings are going to come. But if the people choose to do their own thing, then the curses will follow. The curses will follow. Now, the 33rd week is a book of Micah week, and in this week we're going to, we're going to pray from the book of Micah. We're going to learn something from the book of Micah. Micah has 7 chapters. 7 chapters, and the chapters are not very long, so 16 verses, 13, 12, and maybe the longest, maybe 20 verses. So we're going to be learning from the book of Micah. But let me say this. Micah wasn't just a book. It's not just a book of blessings. It's a book that shows, judgments. It shows judgment. It shows reactions. And it certainly tells you that it was written to a people who were getting out of line. And Micah's book is like a warning bell. Something terrible is coming. You're going to come face to face with your fears, and I hope you know how to stand that. Now, because in the 33rd season, we look at Genesis chapter 33. What we see in Genesis chapter 33 was that Jacob came face to face. Jacob came face to face with Esau, his brother. You know that, 20 years they had not met. After he received the blessings from Isaac, so he escaped, lived with his uncle Laban for 20 years. And so he did not have to deal with Esau, but now he's coming back. And he had prayed in Genesis 32, "Oh Lord, deliver me from my brother Esau, for I fear him." Now he's going to come face to face with Esau. What is going to happen? Now, what does that mean to us? It just means that in the 33rd season is a time to come face to face with what you're running from. So it's a season that people need to prepare themselves and be sure that I don't want this. In the 33rd season, people come face to face with what they are running from. It was the 33rd president of the United States that first used the atomic bomb. It was in a season that the atomic bomb was first used. Japan came close to, face to face with her fears. So when Hiroshima and Nagasaki and other cities were bombed, atomic bomb, first time in history, in the season of the 33rd president of the United States, Harry Truman. So that confirms it, that the 33rd season is when people come face to face with what they are running from. Yes, for people who are familiar with Nigeria's history, 1993, that's when Ibrahim Babangida was in power. That was the 33rd year of Nigeria, and that's Babangida was compelled by circumstances to step down. He had to step down. That's not what he planned, but he had to step down. He handed over to an interim government that was also overthrown. So that was a very hot season in Nigeria. So same thing. So you look at it also, it was at the beginning of the 33rd 7 years of the United States, from 1776, if you count the 33rd 7 years. It was at the beginning of that. That's when the bombing of the World Trade Center happened. So the 33rd season is a time to say, hey, something is coming. If you're walking in obedience, the eyes of the Lord is on those who fear. If you're walking in obedience, Psalm 33 is for you. If you walk in obedience, Psalm 33 is for you. If you walk in obedience in this season, Deuteronomy chapter 33 is for you. But if people walk in rebellion, walk in disobedience, walk out of alignment with God, then the book of Micah is it. You see the fire, I see the other side of it. So that's what we're going to be looking at this week. But just get that one thing that God wants in the 5th season is alignment with Him. That's what He wants in the 33rd season. I'd like to read, let me just read something. Let me read Psalm chapter 33. Take time to read that. That's the psalm for people who walk in obedience. Job 5 will say, acquaint yourself with God and good shall come to you. So in the 5th season, God expects alignment with His heart. He expects that you align with His word so that the blessings can pour out. That's why Deuteronomy is about blessings and curses. If you obey, blessings. If you don't, so you are the one to choose if you want to go down or if you want to go up. God said to them in the full book of the Bible, said, if you will diligently listen and obey my voice, I will lift you up above all nations. You will be above only, and you will not be beneath. Remember that on the 5th day of creation, God made creatures that could go above and made other creatures that could live beneath. So it's a season to choose if you want to go above by obeying God, or if you want to live beneath by rebelling against God. So that's it. So when you read Psalm, when you read the book of Psalm, chapter 33, this is what you see. It said, rejoice in the Lord, O you righteous, for praise from the upright is beautiful. Make melody to Him with an instrument of 10 strings. Sing to Him a new song. Play skillfully with a shout of joy. For the word of the Lord is right, and all His work is done in truth. He loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of the goodness of the Lord. By the word of the Lord, the heavens were made, and all the host of them by the breath of His mouth. He gathers the waters of the sea together. As a heap, He lays up the deep in storehouses. Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of Him. For He spoke, it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the peoples of no effect. The counsel of the Lord shall stand forever, the plans of His heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people He has chosen as His own inheritance. Wonderful. Just find time to read Psalm 33 this season. That's the place to be in a 33rd season, 33rd week. It's a place to be. You have wonderful promises. You get to verse 19. Verse 19, it said, behold, the eye of the Lord is on those who fear Him, on those who hope in His mercy, to deliver their soul from death and to keep them alive in famine. So the blessings of God follow the 33rd when we walk in alignment with God. But if we are out of alignment, then it is disaster. And I pray that that's not what this week will mean for you, that you'll be, you will not see disaster, your family will not see disaster, your nation will not see disaster, because this is a season of reactions, when the people walk in rebellion. I bless you in the name of the Lord, and trust God that the 33rd week for you will be a week of blessings, that we will not experience the negative side of the book of Micah, but enjoy the positive side. The Lord bless you. Amen.